Hello, this is Sondra Oster Baras bringing a few words of Bible from the heart of Biblical Israel. This week's Torah portion is Ki Teitzei, and indeed, as a single Torah portion, it has the largest number of commandments of any other Torah portion in the Torah. So this in itself is just a wealth of issues that are dealt with in this Torah portion. We don't have any stories, but we have a lot of commandments. And I'm not going to deal with all the commandments, but I chose just a few from the beginning, from the middle of the Torah portion, chapter 22. So let's start with chapter 22, verse 1 through 3. Okay, very interesting situation that sets out here. If you see your fellow's ox or sheep gone astray, do not ignore it. You must take it back to your fellow. If your fellow does not live near you or you do not know who he is, you shall bring it home and it shall remain with you until your fellow claims it. Then you shall give it back. You shall do the same with his ass. You shall do the same with his garment. And so too shall you do anything with your fellow that your fellow loses and you find. You must not remain indifferent. Okay? And I think the word indifferent here is key. This is not just about how you're supposed to be nice, and you're supposed to be good, and you're supposed to be kind, and you're supposed to be just. And if an opportunity comes to you to judge something, you have to do the right thing. If you shouldn't kill, you shouldn't hurt anybody. Okay, those types of commandments are something that are logical and make sense in any just society. Has to be predicated on that sort of behavior. In these verses, however, at the beginning of chapter 22, the Bible takes us one step further. You cannot ignore. Okay? Now, imagine you're walking down the street and you see somebody's wallet, okay, on the sidewalk. I think most of us would assume that we are totally free to ignore it. What do we need this for? I'm going to pick up the wallet. What if someone sees me and thinks I'm stealing it? I'm going to open the wallet. Oh my goodness. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to take it to the police? Am I supposed to put out a notice? What am I supposed to do? What do I need this headache for? It's not my problem. That is a typical attitude that we encounter today. And I don't think anybody would consider a person who has that attitude towards nobody's being hurt. Okay? They're not witnessing somebody hitting somebody else, and maybe you say, oh, you have an obligation to get involved to save someone's life. That's not the case. You see something on the ground, you can easily ignore it. Say, what do I need to get involved? Here the Bible says no. You must get involved. You have that additional obligation to pick up the wallet and say, do I know who it belongs to? And even if you don't know who it belongs to, you can't just put it back down on the sidewalk. You've got to keep it, and you've got to find out who it is. You've got to, and of course we don't have the details here, but today the rabbis, in interpreting this thing, say you have an obligation to notify in the entire neighborhood. If somebody lost a wallet, let me know. Now, of course, somebody's going to come to, anybody's going to say, you put out a notice, someone lost a wallet. You're going to say, gee, I didn't lose a wallet, but certainly I want a wallet. There's probably some money in there, and there's probably some credit cards in there, and I can really go to town. So the rabbis then say, no. The person who comes to claim the wallet has to identify it. So when you say you put out the notice, someone lost a wallet, let me know. You don't put out any details. You don't say what color it is. You don't say what's in it, nothing. Okay, so that when someone comes and says, I lost a wallet, he has to be able to give you details about that wallet that are specific enough so that you understand this indeed is the original owner of that wallet. Of course, if you open the wallet and you see someone's name and phone number, then you have an obligation to call them up and you say, look, I found your wallet. But I think it's very interesting that the Bible doesn't leave this to our goodwill, but obligates us to go that extra mile to help somebody that may have lost something. Okay, now if we go further, we see another commandment that seems incredibly odd. Okay, it begins in verse 6. If along the road you chance upon a bird's nest, in any tree or on the ground, with fledglings or eggs, and the mother sitting over the fledglings or the eggs, do not take the mother together with her young. Let the mother go, and take only the young, in order that you may fare well and have a long life. What's this about? What is this about? And very often this is understood that there is a true concern for the welfare of the mother bird. We all know that a mother bird is very, very protective of her young, whether it's sitting on the eggs or whether it's protecting the small little chickies or fledglings or whatever you call them that have recently been hatched. She will leave the nest to go get food and come right back to them. Okay? And so the assumption here is that it would cause anguish to the bird if while the bird is there you just snatched away the eggs from her. You snatch away the birds, and therefore you wait. You can shoo the bird away, or you can wait until the bird leaves, and then when she's not seeing this, you take the birds. Now, of course, you could say, why is this important? I think it's important for the bird, but I think this teaches us an amazing lesson for human beings as well. Don't cause pain to children in front of their mother. Now, of course, you should be causing pain to anybody. But if there's something you must do or is legitimate for you to do, okay, make sure that in the course of doing it, you are not causing pain. How many times will we go to a hospital and with our children and the doctor has to do something? Now, if the mother has to hold the doctor's hand, and it's not a big deal, giving a shot or whatever. But as soon as they're going to do something that is going to really be painful, they know it will upset the mother deeply, they will throw the mother out of the room. And that's the kind thing to do. A mother does not have to see the suffering of her child if she doesn't have to. Verse 8, such a logical commandment. It's kind of funny that it's even here. But it says you're going to build a new house, and you have a roof, and here the assumption is a flat roof because that was the way houses were built, a flat roof. Make sure you put a gate around the roof. And of course here we're not only talking about roofs, but any place that you've built or you have on your property that somebody can fall and hurt themselves, you must guard against anyone who might do that. Put a gate around. And therefore it's kind of like what we talked about in the first example about returning somebody property. You can easily say, look, it's my property. Why do I have to put a gate? You don't belong on my property. What are you doing on my rooftop? No. The Bible is saying you have to think ahead. You have to think about that chance person might happen to be on your property and fall into a hole that you didn't surround with a gate. Go into a swimming pool. Okay, you've got to protect yourself. You have a swimming pool in your backyard? This tells us you have to protect as much as possible from people who would accidentally fall into the pool. You can't just leave it uncovered. You can't just leave it without some kind of a gate. It is your responsibility. You can't just say, well, they should have been more careful. It is your responsibility to make sure you've done whatever you could do. And the last verse I want to focus on here is probably one of the most amazing ones of all. This is in verse 16. Wait, let me find it. It's in chapter 23. Okay, next chapter 23, verse 16. You shall not turn over to his master a slave who seeks refuge with you from his master. He shall live with you in any place he may choose among the settlements in your midst. Wherever he pleases, you must not ill-treat him. This is amazing. Any slave who is escaping from his master and shows up on your property, you must give him refuge. And not just give him refuge, you do not make him another slave. If he has escaped from one master, not only do you not give him back to his master, but you give him freedom. He can live anywhere he wants, and you cannot persecute him in any way. This is amazing. And what is this about? I mean, if a slave is running away from his master, it must mean that he is suffering. And this is in an ancient world where slavery was allowed. And even the Bible has the ability for slavery. But in the Bible, when you have a slave, you must feed your slave before you feed yourself. You must feed him and clothe him and treat him and his wife and his children with dignity and with kindness, okay? And here, though, in other words, you have to create the situation that nobody would want to run away. But if he runs away, you lost your slave, because it means you didn't treat him well enough. Isn't that amazing? I don't think there's any other civilization in the ancient world, even in the modern world, that would have treated the issues in this way. Isn't the Bible an amazing, amazing book? Have a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom.
I hope you enjoyed that video, and we'd like to be sure you're getting all of our video content. So just click on the subscribe button below as well as on the notification bell, and that way you will have easy access to all our material. We look forward to staying in touch with you. God bless you, and have a wonderful day.